Very good morning, my dear students. Today you are going to learn about electrocastography. So, electrocastography is given in your content, second unit content. So, here actually there is no difference at all. Difference between electrocastrogram and electrocastography. Electrocastrogram is a instrument. Electrocastography is a recording on a sheet, that is called graphy. So that is you are going to learn it now. So that what is here, you are going to learn electrocastrogram or electrocastography. So here you are seeing that a person who is showing the stomach. There six electrodes are placed. One electrode called as a reference electrode here. So these it will measure the movement of intestines and stomach. That activity of electrical signal due to the movement of stomach muscles that have been recorded. That recording we are calling as electrocastography. So here what is electrocastography? We can say that an electrocastrogram, that is EGG, is a graphic produced by a electrocastrogram which records the electrical signal that travels through the stomach muscles and controls the muscles contraction. Next we are going to see that its waveform, how we are obtaining its waveform, that we are going to see that. That is the next level. And what is here, you are seeing this one is myoelectrical activities. How they are recording that signal, you can see here. See here you are seeing the two kind of waveform. The waveform A, it is showing the movement of stomach muscles, and B is showing that so the other electrode placed on a stomach, that is name is we can place the electrode on a surface of cardia or surface of rogue and surface of duodenum and surface of curvature. So by that way we are getting a different electrical signal that you are seeing in a graph A and a graph B. So here the electrocastography, that is EGG, is a non-invasive method for measurement of castromyoelectrical activities. It was discovered in 1921 and popularized in the 1990s. So there is a large year difference. So 1921 have been discovered, but it was famous in the 1990s only. So almost 70 years they are not looking care of these EGG. So here EGG is attractive because it is non-invasive. So however, due to non-invasive nature, there have also been controversies regarding the validity and application of EGG. So EGG is the gastric slow waves, and its correlation with the gastric modality, that which is present in recording. The association between the gastric dysrhythmia, that is called related with the stomach disease, and impaired gastric motility that can be viewed with the help of EEG. So here the electrogastrography is we can also say again and again non-invasive techniques for recording the gastric myoelectrical activity using cutaneous electrodes that is placed on abdominal skin over the stomach. The surface recording obtained using electrography is called the electrogastrogram. In this view, the both electrogastrography and electrogastrogram are abbreviated to EGG, and these EGG refer to the electrogastrography, that is the techniques of recording the electrogastrogram. So that is called the electrogastrography. The EEG is referred to electrocardiogram, that is a recording instrument, that is we are calling as. So the EEG is a recording of a stomach movement, and also it is a record artifact also. So here the validity of EEG, that data will be given in 3 categories that we will discuss one by one. First category is the relationship between the internal extracellular myoelectrical recording and gastric contractions. This will tell whether the internal extracellular myoelectrical recording is measured of true gastric myoelectrical activity or just an artifact of a gastric contraction. This comes under category 1. And second category is the relationship between the EEG and internal serocell. So internal serocell means the smooth tissue membrane, that is called smooth tissue membrane, is called as a serocell. That is a recording of a gastric of slow waves. This will determine whether the EEG is an accurate measurement of gastric slow waves. Third category is the relationship between the EEG and gastric contractions. That is, the EEG is a measurement of gastric slow wave or a just gastric contractile artifacts. Now we are going to see that another one. You are seeing that here the waveform you are seeing here, that waveform is giving. So that means these waveform have been taken from the 4-channel electrogastrography. So this is these here the electrogastrography signals which is obtained from a healthy subject after the meal. First, the graph A is provides the original tracing made by a 4-channel EEG device, and the signals in graph A, which is filtered by high pass filter with a cutoff frequency of 3 Hz. The normal which shows the wave were seen before, but not after a digital filter at 3 Hz. That you are seeing in a graph B. So graph A is a original signal, graph B is a filtered signal. That means artifact have been removed after the obtaining from 4-channel EEG device. Now we'll see that a recording of the electrogastrography. So what all the way they are measuring the electrogastrography, and what all the precaution, what all the procedure, technical procedure we have to do it here, that we are going to discuss now. So what is that one? We'll discuss now here. So recording of the electrogastrography. you are seeing in the diagram, that is the stomach. It is given as a oval shape one. Here the electrode have been placed in a parallel manner. The first two electrodes on the upper portion of stomach, another three electrodes below that one, they are leaving some space. After some centimeter space, they are placing another three electrodes. So after that they are placing another three electrodes in the middle temple. So after that it is again there is a space, the electrode 12, 13 and 14 place. The another below space 15 and 16 electrodes are placed. So here the 3, 4, 5, 6 electrode which is provides the information about epigastric EGG, that is given to the channel 1, and supra-umbilical EEG have been obtained by electrode 7, 8, 9, which is given to the channel 2, and infra-umbilical EEG signal have been taken from electrode 12, 13, 14. Okay, so here, and what is here, these one which provides the stomach movement and gives electrical activities. So here they are using a 4-channel electrodes in order to obtain EEG, that is called electrocastography. So here electrocastography they are obtaining. First we will discuss here what is that one. In this case some of the problems are there during the recording of a electrocastography. So one common mistake made in a EEG recording is inadequate preparation of skin, that is very important, and another placement of electrodes. So both are very important. One is inadequate preparation of skin where we have to place it properly, another one placement of electrodes. So that is two things are very important. So these only they are making as a mistake during the recording of EEG. Since the EEG signal is weak, it can be easily distorted or interfered by the motion artifacts. That is, we know that motion artifacts is a movement of electrodes or a movement of patients. This is called a motion artifacts due to the body movement or breathing when we are breathing that time. So in order to accurately record an EEG, the following procedure should be strictly followed. What are the following procedure? First one is called skin preparation. Okay. So what they have to do? First, abdominal skin where electrodes are to be positioned should be thoroughly cleaned to ensure that impedance between the pair of electrodes in the below 10 kilo ohm, 20 kilo ohm and 21 kilo ohm. These impedance they have to measure it first. So that is epigastric EEG 10 kilo ohm impedance must be there, and supra umbilical EEG must be have 20, infra-umbilical EEG must have 21. To do so, it is advised to abrade the skin until the turns pinkest using some stand skin preparation jelly they are placing on it. Then they are applying a thin layer of electrode jelly for 1 minute for jelly to penetrate the skin before placing the electrodes. So this is the excessive jelly also is a problem. It must be completely wiped out. So excessive jelly they should not have it. Next we are going to discuss about electrode placement. So electrode placement means so regular castrogram electrodes can be used for recording. Here usually they are electrodes here, EEG recording electrodes, they have taken from ECG electrodes. Okay, so the most commonly used configuration for recording one channel EEG is to place one electrode at the midpoint of a line connecting the excipoid arid umbilicus. So they are connecting at a excipoid and umbilicus. So they are connecting in order to obtain the channel 1 signal. And other electrodes, that is 5 centimeter away, up, that is up or, and the 45 degree that is to the patient left hand side. So the ground electrode is placed on the left costal margin original to the first active electrode, that is which is given there. If a channel 4 EEG's recording device is used, the multi electrodes should be placed according to the diagram you are seeing here. So what is the main advantage of these multi electrodes means that it provides a multi-channel EEG, may provides more information about the slow wave propagation. Third one, you are going to learn subject position. So the most important point in positioning the subject are to ensure that the subject is in a comfortable position, most commonly supine. Okay, so most commonly supine, so that the movement can be completely avoided or reduced to the minimal. So the subject should be the mocked, that is they are asking to not talk or not to move or not to read or not to make any phone calls during the procedure. And to ensure that the position of subject is the same, if there are multiple sessions, and timing of unavoidable body movement or motion artifact should be noted, and the recording period with the motion artifact must be removed before the analysis. This is the subject position. Next we are going to see the duration of recording. So duration of recording is another common mistake in recording the EEG, is that recording is too short, unlike the ECG in which there are about 60 waves every minute. The EEG is composed of only 3 waves every minute, but ECG is 60 waves per minute, in EEG is 3 waves every minute. That is, if the recording is of a short duration of 5 minutes, there are only 15 waves which are obviously insufficient for analysis and interpretation. Ideally, at least 30 minutes period is needed to ensure an accurate measurement of gastric slow waves in a particular state, such as fasting and feeding, baseline or after intervention. Next we are going to see the protocol for a clinical electrocardiography test. So that is this waveform which is obtained from the channel 1, 2, 3 and 4. So first we are here we are going to learn protocol for a clinical electrocardiography test. When the EEG is used as a clinical test, the EEG should be recorded in both fasting and feed states. Okay, the first before without food, what is the EEG? After the food, what is the EEG? So both the things they have to measure. To ensure the stomach is empty, when the baseline or fasting EEG is recorded, the subject should be fasted for at least 6 hours, because the completely emptying of stomach takes about 4 hours in a healthy subject and that can be longer if a patient has subjected to gastric modality disorders. So if they have some modalitic disorder, the gastric modality disorders, they must take fasting up to 6 hours. So that is they are recording EEG during the fasting. During after drinking a water is not allowed at least 2 hours before the test. Duration of the post prandial recording should be at least 30 to 60 minutes depending on the symptomatic response, that is depend upon symptomatic response of the subject to the meals. Similarly to other modality tests, any medication known to the what is altered gastric modality should be discontinued for at least 2 to 3 days before the EEG test. Next, here what we can say means in this case, so in this case the test meal should contain a minimum of 25 kilocalories. So better, that means it is must be less than 400 kilocalorie with no more than 35% of fat, and a solid meal are usually recommended. Although a few investigators have used water as a test, as a meal test, that is a feed meal test, it should be noted that the different test meal may result in a different post-prandial EEG response. So accordingly, when the data are compared among different studies, the composition of a meal should be carefully examined. In healthy humans, a solid test meal with a sufficient high calories, that is less than 400 kilocalorie, the result in increasing in both amplitude and frequency of gastric slow waves. So here a liquid meal may also increase a slow wave amplitude but reduce its frequency. That's why a meal with a high percentage of fat, that is less than 50, that is it is greater than 50 percentage, may induce gastric dyshythemia, that is called dyshythemia will be produced. So accordingly, the composition of the meal should be considered when interpreting the post-parental EEG. So these studies should be kept alert and should not fail asleep during the procedure. So as gastric slow waves have been reported to change during the sleep. So the patient, they should not take any kind of sleeping. Next we are going to see the pitfalls in the electrocardiography recording. Very important pitfall in electrocardiography recording. It is most important, and also it is noted that an EEG study could be flawed or completely useless if any of the following are take place. First one, the skin is not appropriately prepared. Second one is the subject is engaged in a conversation. So third one is the subject moves frequently and the period with the body movement are not detected. That is other pitfall. So here the recording for a particular condition is shorter than 15 minutes. So these are all, it provides this measurement is very important, otherwise it will lead to a pitfall in electrocardiography. So now we will go for electrocardiography analysis. So now what is that electrocardiography analysis you are going to see here. So here you are seeing the waveform. So this waveform, it is called spectral analysis of electrocastography. First waveform, it is indicating original EGG tracing. Second waveform, it is indicating overall spectrum analysis, that is graph B. And third one is the graph C, it is indicating adaptive running spectra. So adaptive running spectra it is giving here. So here in this case, unlike the electrocardiogram with which a physician can perform a diagnosis by visually examining the tracing, the EEG must be subject to computerized spectral analysis. This is because EEG is a signal is weighted summation of all gastric slow waves presented in the stomach. Its waveform is depend on many uncontrollable factors and no diagnostic criteria have been established using the waveform of EEG. Here in addition, the EEG also contains a respiration artifact that is between 12 to 25 CPM, and sometimes the ECG artifact is greater than 60 CPM. So occasionally that is the slow wave of a small intestine may be recorded in EGG. So EGG, that is with 12 CPM. So although these interferences distort gastric slow waves in EGG, their frequency do not overlap with that of gastric slow waves. Consequently, spectral analysis can be performed to separate the gastric slow waves from interferences. So as stated earlier, before spectral analysis is performed, any period with the motion artifact must be identified and deleted, because the motion artifact cannot be separated from the gastric slow waves even with the spectral analysis. So clinically, establishment of EGG parameters that can be extracted from the spectral analysis include dominant frequency and power. So here the fasting feed power ratio, that percentage of normal gastric slow waves, percentage of gastric dyshythemias, and percentage of power distributions. So thank you for listening this class. I hope that you have learned total knowledge about the recording of electrocastography. We'll see it in next class. Bye.